Dylan felt invisible to everyone until a complete stranger handed him a cracked mirror and turned his life around.
Dylan was the kind of kid who kept his head down. He walked with a slouch, never looked people in the eye. He figured if people didn't notice him, they couldn't hurt him. Every day after school, he'd sit behind the old hardware store, hoodie up, drawing in his sketchbook. He loved drawing superheroes, but never believed he could be one. One day, some older kids came by. They grabbed his book, laughed at the pages. Superheroes? You? Come on, bro. You don't even believe in yourself. Dylan didn't fight back. He just walked away, same as always. The next afternoon, while Dylan sat behind the store, an old man walked past with a cart full of bottles and cans. He stopped, looked down. That your art? Dylan didn't answer. The man crouched beside him. Looks like you've got magic in your hands, but sadness in your eyes. Dylan glanced up. Doesn't matter, nobody cares. The old man reached into his cart, pulled out a small, cracked mirror, and handed it to Dylan. You ever look at yourself and tell the truth? He asked. What truth? Dylan asked. That you're not broken, just buried. Dig, son. And he walked off. That night Dylan sat in his room with the mirror. He looked, but he didn't like what he saw. Who would care about someone like me? He whispered. He remembered the bullies, the quiet lunches, the teachers who skipped over him. But then he remembered the old man's voice. You're not broken, just buried. So he stared a little longer. And for the first time, he didn't turn away. The next morning, Dylan did something different. He left the hoodie at home. At lunch, he sat alone like always, but this time he opened his sketchbook. In the open. A girl from art class passed by. Did you draw that? Dylan nodded. It's really good, she said. He smiled, just a little. Day by day, Dylan changed. He started helping out in art class after school. He joined a club, talked to one new person each day. Sometimes it went well, sometimes it didn't. But every time he felt the fear creep in, he pulled out the little mirror. You're not broken, just buried, he'd whisper to himself. The teachers noticed. His posture changed. His voice got louder. At the end of the year, he was chosen to design the school's mural. He drew a giant tree, half of it above ground, strong and green, the other half underground with roots glowing gold. It's called What They Don't See, he explained at the school assembly. After the ceremony, Dylan spotted the old man again across the street. He ran to him. Hey, I never got your name. The man smiled. Names don't matter, son. What matters is that you found yourself. Dylan held up the mirror, now taped at the edges. This helped, the old man nodded. Funny thing about mirrors, they show you what's there, but they don't tell you who you are. That part's up to you. Years passed. Dylan didn't just grow up. He grew out of who he used to be. He opened an art studio, not just to paint, but to teach kids who felt invisible, kids like him. And on the first day of every class, he'd hand each student a small plastic mirror. One boy raised his hand and asked why. Dylan knelt beside him and said, because sometimes you need to see yourself to believe in yourself. And hanging above the studio door, in bold letters, were the words, not broken, just buried. When you think you're nothing, remember, even the strongest tree begins as a seed buried deep in the dark. Your worth isn't gone, it's waiting. So dig. What we can take from this story is that sometimes you don't need to be fixed, you just need to be found. Believe in who you are, even when no one else does.